Well, hello there, Stacey Murphy here with a quick video on the number one garden gadget that I recommend for all vegetable and herb gardeners. Doesn't matter how much experience you have. If you're a beginner, this tool is basically going to help you uh, make the learning curve simpler so that you can get started faster and find more success. And if you have more experience, this can help you conserve your resources and also get better yields. All right. So before I tell you what the tool is, basically, here's the deal with food growing. It's like anything else. The difference between a successful vegetable and herb gardener and somebody who feels like they're floundering around and not finding the success that they're looking for, the people who find success are often people who have quantifiable goals that they're moving towards and they can track how they're doing against that goal. So something that you can look at and you can understand as a number, that's the way that you start to understand success. Otherwise, it just feels like you're trying things and they're either working or they're not. Okay, so you have your vegetable and herb garden, or you're getting started vegetable and herb gardening. What are those things that we can quantify in order to show our success? So here's the deal with vegetables and herbs. We all know that they want lots of sunlight. That's how they photosynthesize. That's how they stay healthy. So we want healthy plants that are strong. And what that means is that they won't be susceptible to pests and diseases, all right? So what do they need? They need sunlight, yes. The second thing that they need is moisture. And this is where a lot of people always wonder how much moisture is the right amount. Some people, if you give the plants too much water, they can be water stressed. And if you give them too little water, they can be water stressed. And what happens to stressed plants? Kind of like humans, we get sick. The plants get sick when they're water stressed. So we don't want that to happen. So water is one of those things that you can quantify pretty simply. And it's a simple tool. Simple first tool for every vegetable and herb garden. This is a meter that measures, this one measures pH, moisture, and light. But really just a moisture meter is going to help you immensely, all right? pH changes all over in your garden. It can be helpful to know what the pH is, but it changes constantly. So we're going to talk about moisture here and what it takes to use this successfully, all right? So it's super simple. You can buy these for anywhere like $10 to $20 online. And these probes, basically you stick them in, and this is a little container I've got here. So I can stick the probe in, and I know that you guys can't read this moisture meter, so I'm going to take a look at it. And basically this says that right now I'm in the green zone. So here's the deal. There Basically, there's a red zone, which is too dry, a green zone, which is just right, and a blue zone that is maybe too much moisture, right? And so what you're going to get to know with your specific dial that you're using is when you stick it in the ground, you can stick your finger in too, and you can sense if it's what the moisture level is like as well. So you can kind of coordinate how the soil feels with the number on the dial. And so what I recommend is that the first time you use your meter, what I would do is stick it down in and read the moisture meter. And right now, my moisture meter is reading at the top of the green zone because it's morning time and we've already experienced condensation from the night. So the plants have already been watered this morning, so that's why it's reading as moist. So now what I want to do is coordinate that with a feeling of how moist that soil is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my hand down in there and I'm going to pull up some of this soil down here and I'm going to squeeze it, and it sort of forms a ball, and that's nice. It's like a sort of a damp sponge. That is essentially what I want it to look like every morning. So this is the exact right amount of moisture. If I tap this, it'll crumble. It basically crumbles apart. So now I know that what I want to see on this moisture meter is essentially after watering, I want it at the top of the green zone. And what I've noticed with my garden is that when it's too dry, it's right at the bottom of the green zone. So I'm pretty aligned with this meter. So I can basically come out and see each day what the moisture level is like. So what is this going to do for you? So all of these worries about, is there too little water? Is there too much moisture? If your leaves are turning funny colors and you're wondering, is it too little water or too much water? Now you have a sense because you have a meter that tells you. All right, so this is something that is inexpensive and very great for beginning gardeners to get right the amount of water. And as you get more experience, you can dial this in even more, and here's how. So what I know is that if I want really delicious tasting tomatoes, oftentimes what I will do is I will keep them at the lower end of the moisture spectrum, because a lot of moisture leads to watery tomatoes. And so as my tomatoes are coming into fruiting, I try not to get to the higher range, because I want my tomatoes to be really delicious. And then my cucumbers, I want my cucumbers to plump up really fast. And so at this on this dial, what I know is that I want my cucumbers to be in the blue zone a lot of the time, because the more water I can pump into the ground, the more water just goes directly into those cucumbers. So I know the relationship between at the as a beginner, I know that I can use this dial to ensure that I'm getting the right amount of moisture so that my plants are healthy and thriving. And then as I get more experience, I can dial in which plant wants more or less water based on the taste of the crop, and also how big that vegetable might become. Similarly with radishes and arugula, what I know is that where I want this water meter to be in order for the flavor, because those things can be really fiery, and sometimes I like that, and sometimes I don't want that. So the amount of water can affect the flavor of your different plants too as you get more experience. So this is my number one gadget for especially beginning gardeners, because this is something that can help you understand if you have enough moisture or not. And as you get more experience, I challenge you to start to link flavor and yield to water as well. All right. So that is the first gadget I recommend for all vegetable and herb gardeners, and it's inexpensive. It's easily available at online or at stores near you. And here's the deal. If you're interested in more tips, garden hacks, garden gadgets, I invite you to join us at thegardenhacksummit.com. Click the button below to register, and I will see you there.